Welcome back to Muscle Maven. Today, we're diving deep into something that could totally change the way you think about training. This might sound wild, but imagine, what if lifting weights wasn't actually the best way to build muscle? Stick around because we're exploring a revolutionary approach that's backed by science and the intense insights of bodybuilding legend Mike Mentzer. Let's start by rethinking what working out really means. We've been told for years that lifting heavier and heavier weights is the key to muscle growth. But here's the thing. Mike Mentzer believed that lifting weights was actually one of the least effective parts of building muscle. Instead, he says the real magic happens when we hold or lower the weights in specific ways.
I have come to discover that lifting weight is a waste of time. In fact, dear listener, you would do much better to start holding the weight in the contracted position, only doing the lowering of the weight. The lifting of the weight is the least productive in terms of stimulating an increase. Why? Because it's the weakest part of the movement. You cannot lift nearly as much weight as you can hold, and you can't hold as much weight as you can lower. What I've been having my clients doing is holding the weights in the fully contracted position for up to 15 seconds, and then once they recognize their static strength is about to go, they start lowering the weight very slowly, and the results I'm achieving are literally phenomenal.
Here's where it gets interesting. When you lift a weight up, let's say a dumbbell or a barbell, that's actually the weakest part of your muscles movement. Why? Because your body can't handle as much weight during the upward or positive part of a lift. But when you're holding it or lowering it, you're tapping into levels of strength that you just can't reach with lifting alone. Mentzer's approach focuses on something called static holds and negatives. A static hold is when you hold the weight in a fully contracted position for up to 15 seconds. For example, on a leg extension machine, that would mean locking your legs straight and holding that position. After your static strength starts to fade, you slowly lower the weight back down. This is the negative. This combination of holding and slowly lowering a heavy weight is where Mentzer believed real muscle growth takes off. And I promise you that by doing this method, all your quadriceps will tremble from the intensity of the training and you will feel like this. So, why does this work so well? Think of your muscle strength as having three levels: lifting or positive, holding or static, and lowering or negative. Traditional lifting only focuses on that positive strength. But when you add in the static and negative elements, you're working all three levels. This complete approach stimulates the muscle way more and maximizes growth. Here's another way to look at it. Imagine most bodybuilders are only using a fraction of their muscle's potential. They're lifting up and dropping down, rarely focusing on that contraction or the negative. Mentzer said this is one of the biggest mistakes bodybuilders make. And if you're only working one out of your three strength levels, of course, you're limiting your potential. Mentzer's philosophy goes beyond just changing exercises. It challenges the whole culture of bodybuilding. Instead of just lifting weights, he pushes us to think scientifically about muscle growth. He often said, the purpose of a bodybuilder isn't to lift the heaviest weight, that's a powerlifter's job. Our goal is to achieve maximum muscle contractions. By focusing on that, we build a stronger, more well-rounded muscle. So, how can you apply this to your own workouts? If you have access to machines like the leg extension or lat pull-down, try it out. Load up with a heavier weight than you're used to. Get into the fully contracted position, hold it there, and really fight to maintain it. Then, when you feel your strength fading, lower it slowly, staying in control the entire time. If you're ready to break out of traditional training and take your muscle gains to the next level, give Mentzer's method a shot. Not only is it intense, but it's also scientifically backed and designed to maximize your muscle's potential. And who doesn't want that?
Here's the idea. Let's eliminate the positive. It doesn't contribute much to growth stimulation. Beyond that, it's even more negative again in that it makes a deep inroad into recovery ability. Start holding your weight in the contracted position, at least in those exercises where you have resistance in the contracted position.
You can access Mike Mentzer's complete daily program by clicking on the link above. We've provided a detailed breakdown and step-by-step guide to help you follow it fully. Let me know in the comments if you've tried static holds and negatives before, or if this is totally new to you. And if you found this video helpful or inspiring, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with a friend who needs to hear this, and subscribe to Muscle Maven for more game-changing insights.
In order to train as hard as possible, you must retain a clear image of your purpose. Once your goal is sharply, but realistically defined, all that remains is carrying out your plan. Don't, however, worry about your individual potential. Potential is only the expression of a possibility, something that can be assessed accurately only in retrospect. In other words, you'll never know how good you might have become unless you try. So let's get with it.
So as Mike Mentzer said, don't worry about your individual potential, and always remember, train hard and train smart. Thanks for watching.